video I did, I referenced having to make difficult decisions. I'm not one of these people who feels that I can keep everything that comes across my bench, or even things that have been in my collection for a number of years. I often make difficult decisions about things to let go. And this one's a special one. I don't talk much about it because I don't like to contribute to gossip, but this is a company that I worked for some years ago, so I'm very, very familiar with their internal workings and their guitars of this particular period. This is a BC Rich EM1 exclusive, and the thing about this guitar is that it is a prototype. It's not, was never put into production. It has no serial number. It is a gunmetal grey finish. I'm not even sure that the mirror humbuckers are stock BC Rich humbuckers. It is a Strat shape or a super Strat shape. It does have, you know, the four metal tuners, all silver hardware, of course the three-way selection switch, a rosewood board. It has a 12th fret BC Rich inlay, a special inlay. They did that with special edition guitars of this particular period. They may still do that. This is a set neck. The back of the guitar is sort of a maroon color. The front, which is a cap of course, is this gunmetal grey. And this particular guitar has had some mods to it. There's the headstock. This headstock will tell you that this, although it is a prototype, it is part of their import series of guitars. This is the headstock that the imports had, this BC Rich logo. If it were an American made, and be wary that American made doesn't always mean made in America. It sometimes means that the final assembly is in America. There's a lot of misleading verbiage in the guitar industry, unfortunately. If it were an American, one of the American made series, it would have an R on the headstock, which stands for Rico, which of course refers to Bernie Rico, the former owner of the company. This has had some mods to it, so instead of the original tuners, it has locking Spurzels, which I added, gosh, it was probably about 15 years ago now. And this guitar has not been played very much. It's never been gigged, it's never been really out of the house, so it's been babied, it's in great condition. I've decided to let this go. I do have a few guitars, well not many now, from this particular period of my life. I just let go of a custom tuck and roll TR50 amp as well. The same parent company that owned BC Rich at the time I worked for them also owned custom amplifiers and Leam amplifiers, which are both Korean made, or they were at the time, or at least some of their output was Korean made. And it's the same with these guitars. These guitars, as with a lot of guitar companies, and I've talked about this quite a bit, they do have multiple factories. So some of BC Rich output from this period was made in Korea, and some was made in China. They may even have extended that to Indonesia, Singapore over the last few years. The idea that guitars are made in a single place is an outdated one and should not be repeated over and over again like I see on so many channels. Many of these big guitar companies have multiple factories working for them. And sometimes those cross various countries. Most of them also have an import line, and some of them, I said most of them already, many of them I should say also do custom shop or a US made line as well. which can mean a number of things. The parts are still often made overseas, they're just assembled, the final assembly is in the US, which qualifies it for a US made. Sometimes they're more honest and say US assembled. But anyway, you should take all of these things with a grain of salt. So this is just one of those difficult decisions that I had to make. I've decided to let it go, just because I can only keep 4 or 5 electric guitars. I don't feel that it's necessary for me to keep 10, 20, 30 like some people have. So I feel it's a bit greedy. I do have another BC Rich special edition Mockingbird green flame guitar that I may show you at some point. So I still have, and I also have a special edition BC Rich black acoustic guitar with the side holes, which was a limited edition thing, and I particularly like acoustics, as you know from this channel, so that's probably one that I'll hang on to. But every once in a while I have to let things go. I've got a Teton acoustic down here I've had for 2 or 3 years now, solid cedar top. It may have featured on one of my earlier videos. Some guy's coming to look at it later today. I'm going to let it go, just because I have 3 or 4 other solid cedar top acoustic guitars. So like a lot of you, this stuff is fluid. You keep it, you think you're going to keep it, you decide you don't really need it, or it's extravagant for you to have it, or it's too much like other guitars in your collection, so you move them on. So I'm not really indifferent. I probably do it on a larger scale than most people, and every once in a while there's a heart wrencher I just decide to let go of, and you know, to keep my collection to a sensible amount. I tend to keep half a dozen electric guitars, maybe 8 to 10 acoustics, 3 or 4 electric acoustics. I've got maybe 3 or 4 classicals, and then 2 or 3 4 special limited edition rare type things. A couple of cellos, an electric cello, and I tend to keep things right around there. 3 or 4 ukuleles, a couple of electric ukuleles. So, you know, if something comes in I really like and want, something has to make room for it, because I don't have a lot of space. And I just thought I'd do a video about that. And this is one of those things that I've decided to move on. A completely unique gunmetal grey BC Rich exclusive, with some mods done to it. Really nice rosewood fretboard on this. It's heavy, as are most guitars of this particular period. So it's probably mahogany or ash, with some kind of cap, probably a maple cap perhaps. And it's all bound. Nice guitar, but you know, just can't keep them all. So I just thought I'd show it to you because it'll probably disappear. It should. It's going for what it's going for a you know, a prototype guitar with no serial number. I mean, I should be getting twice what I'm asking for this, but I'm not going to be greedy. I'm just going to let it go, and hopefully somebody else will enjoy it. All right, see you next time.